Hello and welcome. Hello, lovely Leos. Thank you for joining me. My name is Rose Smith and I'm here to do your July horoscope, July 2019. Wow, what a big mega month for you. We're all having, of course, there's two eclipses going on, a solar and lunar eclipse on the 2nd and the 16th. There's two new moons if you're outside in New Zealand and Australia. So most of the rest of the world will have a new moon on the 2nd and the 31st, but in Australia and New Zealand and a few islands, it'll be the 1st of August. So that's another thing. And Mercury is going retrograde on the 8th of July to the 1st of August. Now, when I give you those dates for Mercury, there's always a few days before and after those dates where the energy of Mercury retrograde is coming on, and at the end, the energy is coming off. So you can still get things going pear-shaped before and after those dates, okay? So do be careful there, but we'll cover that a bit more. So the new moons are in Cancer and Leo, directly affect you. The eclipses are in Cancer and Capricorn, and Mercury retrograde is in Leo and Cancer. So, you know, you've really got a lot going on, dear Leos. So let's start. Oh, the other thing I'll say too is happy birthday early, Leos. This is so huge this month for you. It's like the turning of a page and we start a new chapter in life. It's a new cycle, a new beginning for you. Okay, so on the 2nd of the month, or the 3rd if you're in Australia and New Zealand, we have the solar eclipse, and it's in your first house, your sign, okay? Eclipses always magnify the energy that's already there. So this is about bringing up stuff that is preventing you from being your authentic self, who you truly are, okay? So you could have some stuff come up, but you'll deal with it and you'll be feeling much better afterwards, because at least you'll be down to the core of your being. So all about authenticity and being your true self. Okay, so a new chapter, you know, this month, July, really does represent a new chapter in your book of life. And many of these events and things that will happen during July are written in your book of life. And you wrote them there before you even came to this planet, before you incarnated. You wrote down the broad events or situations that would happen. And now that you're here, it's your job to fill in all the detail. So if you think of a painting and there's like an outline of sort of broad brush strokes, and we put that in before we get here, then when we get here, we put in the final colours and the final lines and artwork and that kind of thing that gives the detail. Okay, so that's where you're up to. The 4th sees Venus go into your 12th house. Now, this is a beautiful energy. And the 12th house is a very sacred place. It's the house of the goddess. And it doesn't, the energy down there doesn't sort of function the way that our, you know, everyday life or our minds, our analytical minds work. It doesn't work like that. So down in the subconscious and underneath and through the subconscious, all things are possible. So with Venus there, there's likely to be lovely feelings coming up, but for, you know, you may not know why. You might be just feeling really good and things are going more smoothly in your life. You might also find yourself wanting to have more quiet time, which is great, because 12th house is all about self-reflection, meditation, your dreams, those sorts of things, okay? So it's good for metaphysics. It's good if you're interested in astrology, the psychic arts, and you want to develop that esoteric side of yourself. Okay, so The 8th of July until the 1st of August sees Mercury go retrograde in your sign, and after the 20th, it's in Cancer. So here, it means that you might find things about your authentic self coming up, and it's a time for reassessment. You might be looking at yourself and saying, wow, I believe this, that, and the other, but I can see that that's not really right. It doesn't suit me anymore. It's like changing clothes. You may need to change your identity in some way because the old identity is too small for you now. The world is a much bigger place than you thought, and you've got access to that, and you realize now that you can go anywhere or do anything, and you need to change your identity to suit your new reality. So you might find yourself feeling like buying new clothes or changing your appearance in some way, which would be a really good representation of what's going on. So you adopt a new style, or maybe a new hairstyle or new makeup or new colours that you're attracted to. So go with those feelings. Don't repress those feelings. And if you're having financial issues, try and find creative, cheap ways that you can, put on this new identity, because it's really important, because it's reflecting who you are down at a deep level, okay? Mercury retrograde, of course, there can be misunderstandings, and you might find that with this new identity that people misunderstand what you're trying to say, or they thought they knew you and all of a sudden they don't know you anymore. But it's just it's not that you're completely changed and you're a new, totally different person, but it's a deepening of your true self. Okay. The 16th sees a lunar eclipse, and it's in your 6th house, joining Pluto and Saturn. Now, the 6th house is your everyday work and your routine, what you do on a daily basis, and it's also your health and well-being. And with a lunar eclipse happening in that particular part of your chart, you could find that you're feeling a little bit fragile or not as well as you normally do. So it might be time for more relaxation. If you're one of these people that does a lot of physical exercise, it might be time to slow down. Just be cautious of little, viruses, flus, things like that could be out and about, because July really is a month of you, using your time for quiet time and having a lot of self-reflection. So if you're out gallivanting and partying, you might find some things happen to keep you at home more, where you can be still and quiet and have some downtime, okay? So your routine work could be shaken up, your normal everyday job. If you're in a job which you don't really love and it doesn't make your heart sing, you might start having thoughts about leaving or in some way changing your position there. So even if you stay with the same company, that you get a different position that at least makes you feel like you're achieving something, that you're personally invested in your work, okay? Because we spend so much time at work, so it's really important to believe in what you're doing, okay? So at the end of the month, it's also very busy. The 23rd sees the sun go into your first house. The 28th sees Venus go into your first house. And the 31st is that new moon I mentioned before, also in your first house, your house of self. What is intimately personal to you? So it's good to be in contact with friends, and you can tell your friends about what you're thinking and what you're feeling. At the end of the day, though, this is a personal, intimate relationship with yourself. So it's not about really so much, telling the world what's going on. That's a process of becoming. Yes, that is becoming and happening, but it's primarily, or more importantly, to do with your relationship with yourself. This is a great new beginning for you, a new cycle of life, a new chapter in your book of life. Now, let's have a look psychically for lovely Leos in the month of July 2019. I just got to get, there's a picture. Okay, so I can see it's like a cycle. It's a circle going round and around and around in front of my eyes. And I just see it going around like this. And then it's like all of a sudden it just goes, whoop, and that's you stepping out of the cycle or the rat run, if you like, that you've been in. So the cycle of change, the cycle is about to change. And so you'll step out of these preconceived ideas and things that you do quite unconsciously that you don't realise that you're doing. You're going to step out of all of that and create a new pattern that'll be a healthier pattern for you. Yes, so the word I get is emergence. Okay, I can see something coming up out of the ocean, this big, okay, it's a structure like a building coming up out of the ocean. So this is like you're building your new body because it's a structure and it's housing your spirit. You're building a new body and it's building a new life. Okay, so there's a great big fish coming up out of the ocean as well, which is suggesting to me that there's messages from your subconscious coming up. So, and out of the fish's mouth, I can see out of the fish's mouth all this energy coming. The fish is like giving birth through its mouth or something weird. All this new energy, it's going to give you more vitality, okay? You'll be feeling much better. It's like the chi, life force flowing through your body is coming through stronger than ever. They're also telling me something about money. I can see notes here coming out of the fish's mouth. So it suggests that out of your subconscious comes the ability to earn more money or somehow attract money into your life. Okay, so let's have a look now in the cards. Okay, so looking for the month of July 2019 for lovely Leos, the vibe of the month in the card. The money's still happening. I've got my eyes closed. I can see the money's still happening. And looking for the card. Oh, they're also saying put your cards on the table. Okay, so we've come up with a card here, and it's the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords. Okay, look at that. Okay, swords are always about analysing situations. See, she's walking, she's moving forward. And she's carrying those swords. So it's the ability to analyse and strategize what is going on in different situations in your life. Now, you know, sometimes people say that the Suite of Swords is the most negative of the tarot suites. I kind of get what they're saying, but, you know, thinking isn't a sin. We've evolved to think. Where the problem comes in, particularly Western societies, is we overthink, okay? So typical humans overdo a good thing. There is a place for thinking, there's a place for being, there's a place for feeling, and there's a place, you know, for spirit in our lives. So I don't see swords as being negative, and I don't see thinking as being negative, because if you're dealing with money, for example, you know, you want to be thinking about what you're doing. So I think thinking is fine, but seven implies a sacrifice, and you, in order to move on, you may need to let go of a situation, and it might hurt a bit to do that, but that's fine. That's part of life. Is moving forward, okay? Sometimes you just have to let go of something so that you can move on and, you know, make progress in your life. So don't be afraid. If you get the opportunity, although it's not directly indicated for travel, but if you get the opportunity to move on and actually physically travel, I think July would be a great month to do it, because you've got so much going on, so many new beginnings. you can get away and get your head clear and expose yourself to other ways of living in the world, you know, different countries, for example, that will give you a foundation of what you do want and what you don't want. Okay. Often how us humans seem to operate is often it's by finding out what we don't want, then we realize what we do want. Okay. We think we know what we want, but it doesn't work out. See, she's wearing yellow there. Okay. That's about, yellow is often a very happy color. And this is all these things I'm telling you is about fulfilling your own happiness and finding joy in your life, in yourself, being happy in yourself. Okay. There's something that keeps jumping out to me, and that is those two swords in the ground there. And you can see those two swords there in the ground. That to me is saying you've got to take action and ground your thinking in practical reality. It's not just about thinking. You know, I was saying thinking's not evil. It's not a sin to think, where the issue is overthinking, but we want to ground it, make it physical, manifest. So you have a plan and you manifest it and make it physical by taking action steps. Okay, that's really important. That's what she's doing. She's taking action steps. So you can see her doing that. All right, let me just check and see if there's anything else to tell you, lovely Leos. Oh, they're fixated on those swords. You know, put your thinking into the earth and make it real and make it physical. And sometimes you need to attend a funeral. They're showing me a grave. And that means the funeral of letting go of what's past. You know, it's dead and now it's time to bury it. They're showing me a sword. It's right clear in my face, this huge sword. Cut out what doesn't fit in your life anymore. If it doesn't serve you, let it go. And by doing that, you'll be ironing out the creases. They're showing me an iron, doing some ironing. I know many people don't iron these days. Alrighty, thanks so much for tuning in. I would really appreciate if you give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I would just love that. And I'll be back on Monday. I'm doing Pick a Card at 8 a.m. Sydney, Australia time. Okay, so that'll be Sunday night if you're in other places. I think it's 11 a.m. in Auckland, New Zealand. Oh, I get it all mixed up, all the different, so many time zones to operate in. Okay, so have a wonderful month, and please catch me on my other social media, Twitter and Facebook, where I'm very active. But have a lovely month, and the next one I'm doing is Virgo, which I'll be doing very shortly. Okay, thank you, and bye for now.